So good day again. So let's continue our discussion on the concept of farm machinery and its development. So last time on our previous video, um, we discussed about a brief kwentuhan or a background of agriculture with the development uh, in the supply chain, okay, and the role of mechanization and machinery on agricultural development. And then after that, we have discussed some concepts to understand more about agricultural mechanization. So for this time, as field, a subfield of agriculture, which is the agricultural mechanization, let's do or check some aspect of agricultural mechanization so that we can understand more about this agricultural mechanization, how it works, etc. So, agricultural mechanization aspects is divided into general four: technology, the company, and enterprises. The third is labor, no, and the fourth one is environment. Okay, under technology, we have an incremental and radical innovations. So, it is a technology, therefore, it is an innovation. The designing and development of prototypes is very important. The integration with ICT and sensors, automation and robotics is also one of the sub aspect under technology. And the certificate of performance is very important. Now, laboratory and field tests to see the actual performance of the technology. The second one is under company and enterprise, which is process execution and management of work chains. Okay, management of enterprise, planning and scheduling of operations, quality of products, traceability, reporting, and certification. Budgeting is also very important. Investing, planning, management analysis, and costing. Under labor is very important to consider the operator. Okay, so worker safety and accidents preventions, ergonomics and comfort, no, and the design and control of rational management of work environment. Another one is the professional education and training of workers is also very important. Under environment, it is also considered to uh, as aspect with the environment. Under this, sustainability of processes should be considered. No? Externalities, controls, no? Use of renewable energy sources, because we know that production of energy nowadays is um, too crucial in the sense that it always contribute to the global warming that ends on the climate change, and it is very alarming because it causes a lot of disasters, etc. So efficiency of energy transformations is also very important. This is related to the use of renewable energy. No? Product life cycle assessment. Okay, not a single machinery, no, can live forever. Okay, there is a so-called products life cycle, which it is related to it's actually part, or shelf life is actually part of this product life cycle assessment. The environmental quality certifications also very important so that we can assess what is the effect of this machinery to environment. So let's move on to the very let's try to discuss each of these sub aspects in terms of technology. First is incremental and radical innovations. So as I said, it is a technology, therefore it is an innovations. No, we can actually have an incremental or a radical. It doesn't mean that you have to innovate. Means that you have to uh, have a significant impact. Okay, or you have to introduce a new technology to the market. Okay, but we can also have an incremental innovations, which is defined as concerns an existing technology whose performance has been significant enhanced or upgraded. It is just like there is an existing technology and there is an aspect that you have to improve like this and like that. So this is an incremental innovations versus an radical innovations, which is a more um, advanced one, because you are going to have a significant impact on market and on the economic activity of the firms in the market. So you are introducing a new innovations, a new machineries that it is not introduced before, for example. So prototype is also important. Now, designing and development of prototypes. Prototypes defined as a working model of a product that is used for testing before it is manufactured. It can be a basic working model, a mock-up model, a simple simulation, like for example SketchUp, MSP6. Uh, a mock-up model is you can see a prototype version of a machinery that you are designing. So this can be a simple one, or maybe a basic working model, okay, that you can see that it is working, okay, the work chain is in there, that it performs, no, while in a simple simulation it can be seen in a computer simulation like SketchUp, MSP6, AutoCAD, for example, and Revit are the some of the uh, computer aided drafting simulator, wherein you can see that there is a working machine without um, a physical machine, for example. So for the next is the integration with ICT and sensor. Now, the example for this is smart farming technologies such as automated drip irrigations, variable rate technology, automated fertigations, and greenhouse technology. This is the integration of this ICT and sensors are also very important as aspect of agricultural mechanization. For in fact, it is really a modernized technology. Na? Uh, it can give you a more efficient, most effective applications of agricultural in the agricultural system. Automation and robotics is also very important. Na? Um, Determination of livestock and crop diseases. These are the applications now. Automated soil nutrient reading, automated harvesting, etc. So we have also a certification of performance, which is very important to display or to show what is the real characteristic of a machinery. What is the extent of its performance, for example. There are an international organization for standards, so-called ISO, and this ISO and 18497 2018 is the agricultural machinery. Okay. We have also a national standard. This is called Philippine Agricultural Engineering Standard, and uh, for now it is a uh, Philippine Agricultural and Engineering, or Philippine Agricultural and Biosystem Engineering. Ayan, so inedit ko lang, no. It is a Philippine Agricultural Engineering Standard, or PAES. Okay? Next is the laboratory and field test. Dito mo na talaga makikita the performance of the machinery in terms of in laboratory and in field. Okay? The Agricultural Machinery Testing and Evaluation Center is the one responsible in testing or evaluating this machinery, for example. Okay. Under company or enterprise, first is process execution and management of work chains. Okay, work chains refers to the sequence of work tasks to perform the designed usage. Okay, before machinery is designed as to have a sequence of different works. Okay, with different work tasks. For example, um, you have to use a uh, a belt, for example, so that it can move part of it. Okay. For example, and have a harvester. Okay, and have a harvester. So there are various works tasks for a harvester. First is um, harvesting. It will cut the grains from majority of the rice straw. Okay, and then the second task is it will separate the grains from the cut straw. Okay, it is only the grains ang iiwan niya. Okay, and then the third one is isa-separate niya yung mga natitira pang mga byproducts. So, isa-separate niya. There are a lot of byproducts dyan. Yung mga walang bagas. Walang, Ilocano yung bagas. Yung walang rice, ano tawag doon, sa white. Yung walang laman. Okay, walang laman ng mga rice grains. So, isa-separate niya yan. So, those are the different tasks of a harvester, for example. So, it is also related to operation chain. So, what are the different operations to achieve or to do the design usage, for example? The third one is management of enterprise. Enterprise is very important. Okay, enterprise management is the way of conducting and controlling the business process, information, and IT capabilities, system and serving offering, sources and activities of the enterprise. Okay. The enterprise of machinery is plays a significant role in the dissemination and the supply of machinery. Okay. They are the one responsible in delivering different machineries to the different parts of the country, for example. So, the company or the enterprise management is very important for this. So, this is to ensure equal distribution of benefits. Okay? Yan. Or this can be also great inputs or great management wherein an enterprise can do a research or a research wherein, for example, rice machinery is very important during wet season, while dry season or in the dry season the rice machinery is not so high in demand because syempre hindi naman tayo nagtatanim ng sa Ilocos Norte ng rice during dry season, or maybe some part of the Ilocos Norte may nagtatanim pero hindi ganon kataas yung demand for machinery because iba yung tinatanim. So this can be a great management of an enterprise. Okay. Another one is how the business working, how the process working, how the information. Ito na yung tinasabi ko sa inyo, dissemination of information. So may include yan sa enterprise management. Okay. On the designing how the system works. Okay. Etc. On the resources, activities, and so on. Planning and scheduling operations is also very important because in a community, okay, not all of the farmers can afford to buy a machinery, for example. Okay, so the supply is limited, the demand is limited, so planning and scheduling is very important. Okay, another one factor is high machinery price, small farm areas, and the availability of manpower. Another one is the quality of products under this company and enterprise. Quality is the totality of features and characteristics of products or service that bear on its ability to satisfy stated or implied needs revolving around customer. Okay. For example, a thresher. Okay, based on some talks with farmers, a thresher has lower efficiency in terms of the traditional way of harvest or threshing a rice, called sa Ilocano is agibaot. Okay, based on my father, on the different farmers out in our locality, okay, agibaot has lower broken grains than thresher, wherein thresher shows a significant uh, high broken grains. Okay, so quality is very important. Okay, in considering in designing to consider. Okay, quality is very important to consider in designing machinery. Okay, traceability, reporting, and certifications. Okay, the DA, the Department of Agriculture, Department Circular Number 19 Series of 2019, entitled National Guidelines on the Issuance of Certificate of Conformity for Agricultural and Fisheries Machinery. Okay, this is in align to the RA 10601, which is the Agricultural and Fishery Mechanization, or the AFMEC. Okay, law, Article 5. Okay, testing and evaluation, registration, standardization, and accreditation. Okay, we have also the so-called certificate of conformity in our country. Okay, for agricultural and fishery machinery. So these are very important. These certifications very important in agricultural mechanization. Budgeting and investing planning, management analysis and costing is also very important. Company or enterprise should clearly shows the economic analysis in terms of investment planning, okay, management analysis, different expenses. Okay, like is this machinery can improve the efficiency and effectiveness of conducting the usage, for example. Is this machinery can save cost, can save expenses, okay, and increase productivity, and also increase product tawag dito, income of a farmer. So under labor, no, worker safety and accidents prevention is very important. The operator is very important. The operator of agricultural machinery is a great factor, no, in designing its mechanization. We have also the national standard, which is the PAS 101-2000, the General Code of Safety for Agricultural Machinery. The machinery should always have a provision of information like the operating manuals, warning notices. This is very important for the agricultural mechanization. We have also the so-called ergonomics and comfort. Ergonomics, designing tasks to fit people. So from the definition itself, no, ergonomics is consider the operator, the people, designing tasks to fit people. So the operator or the worker or the laborer, okay, for a specific machinery is very important. It should be fit with it. Okay? Ergonomics increases efficiency and productivity while reducing discomfort and injury. Okay, so take note for this ergonomics, na? There are, for example, I give you an example. No? There are sickle that are left-handed and right-handed. Ang tawag sa Ilocano ng sickle is kumpay. Noong bata ako, palagi akong napapagalitan kasi gusto ko paggamit ko ng sickle is left kasi left-handed ako. Pero mga ginagamit namin is right. Okay? Right. Yung mga ginagamit namin. Kasi karamihan for my with my family members are right-handed. So what happened during my childhood? No? Dahil nasubukan ko rin namang pumupunta ng mga nag-harvest using sickle, no? Ang nangyayari, palagi akong nasusugatan. Okay? Palagi akong nasusugatan. And that is one of the best example for ergonomics. Because what I am using na sickle is right-handed. Okay? Pero left-handed ako, so palagi akong nasusugatan. So, design, control, and rational management of work environment. No? Mechanization design should also consider the environment where it can be fabricated. So, for example, this is not specifically on agriculture, for example, but it is related to mechanization. Okay? For example, truck or car. Okay? In the Philippines, you can observe that the side of the driver is on the left side. Okay? Nandun sa left side. On the other hand, there are countries that are that have cars that are designed na yung driver's side is on the right side. Na-observe niyo sa mga movies. So, this design is considered the place, the environment that is designed. Okay? For example, most of the machinery that is designed in Ilocos, specifically in Ilocos, is different. The design is different. The design consideration is different from Cagayan, because Cagayan has a type 3 climate and Ilocos Norte has a type 1 climate. Okay? So those are the different the differences of this design consideration in terms of work environment. Professional education and training of workers. Okay? Siyempre, innovation yan. So, you have to train. Okay? You have to train professionals, to train the workers, for example. Extension works is critical activity. No? Walang mangyayari sa technology mo if you can't able to give the real, okay, the real performance or real training for the laborer, for the workers. Okay? For the trained personnel. Okay? Kahit bigyan mo pa yan ng kadami-daming machinery, it will not work. I will give you an example. This is all another, this is related with this professional education and training, pero in other aspect, in other field, okay? You have a phone. Okay? You have a phone. This phone. Most of us don't know what is the purpose of this phone. They are using their phone, okay? They are using the phone with at least only texting and chatting and calling, okay, and MLing, joke. In playing ML, na? So, doon na nila ginagamit. Pero hindi nila alam na pwedeng maging wallet, okay? Pwedeng maging online transaction in terms of financial, etc. So, most of what needs a training and educations when it comes to technology. Okay? Minsan pa nga yung mga mayayaman, no, pag may bago, bibili, updated yung phone niya, pero hindi naman niya alam kung ano yung mga benefits na pwede niyang magamit. Okay? And hindi natin masisisi sila. Bakit? Kasi manufacturer, okay, phone company failed to give education and training about phones. Pero hindi naman na kailangan eh. Alam niyo kung bakit? The demand is high. Compared natin sa agricultural machinery, no? Mataas yung presyo, mababa yung demand. Okay? That's why professional education and training should be done. It is very critical. Okay? That's the essence of education and training. So for the last factor or the last aspect of agricultural mechanization that I have shown you this time, now sustainable is environment. Sustainability of processes is very important. Now, according to FAO, sustainable mechanization is a means to an end. Bakit kaya itong end? Maybe end of the old civilization, end of the end of the industrial era, or etc., traditional and conventional practices of agriculture. No? It adopts the so-called conservation agricultural principles and the save and grow paradigm. Okay, because it has a high efficiency, most effective practices. So you can save and grow paradigm. Agricultural mechanization consider not only the agricultural operations designed for machinery, but also all factors affecting sustainability. For example, environment, land and water resources. Okay, I'll give you an example. There is a design of pump that needed to pump more water from groundwater. Okay, and it is very alarming because there is happening right now that there is an overexploitation. Okay, the supply in groundwater is overexploited, and the result from that is there is a saltwater intrusion because the water is very, for example, I give you an example. This is the supply for groundwater. This is the supply for salt water in the ocean. So while we are always pumping and increasing our exploit to groundwater, bababa yan. And of course, that is water. That is the basic of water, which is water fluid na tinatawag, na kapag mas mababa dito, pupunta yan dito. Okay? Dadalo yan dito sa mas mababa. So there will be a so-called ground salt water intrusion in the groundwater under the ground. Okay? And what will happen? Groundwater will gradually unavailable for human consumption. Okay? So there is no sustainability of the processes. So it must be considered in designing an agricultural mechanization. Okay. Externalities control. Okay. Externality is a cost or benefit caused by a producer that is not financially incurred or received by the producer. It cannot be noted. It cannot be observed. It cannot be measured. Maybe it can measure, but it less na kino-consider, but still you have to consider this because this may cost you money or may benefit you and give you a advantage. For example, I'll give you an example. Negative externalities, incur cost. Example, environmental impacts such as air pollution, soil clogging, no, groundwater overexploitation. Dinidiscuss ko kanina ito. Okay, air pollution because you are using a old model of machinery, for example, or you are using a coal energy, okay, or a very less efficient agricultural machinery. So those are negative externalities. Example of positive externalities incurs benefit. Example is contribution to landscape. Pinapaganda yung landscape. So those are externalities that must be considered. Okay. Use of renewable energy sources, no? AFMEC law, section 35, sabi diyan, use of renewable energy stated that the use of renewable and non-conventional energy such as wind, solar, hydro, biomass, and other farm-based energy sources shall be promoted as power sources of agricultural machinery, fishery machinery. Okay? Example, in terms of wind, if you are going to some or having a travel from the different lugar in our locality, kalimutan ko yung lugar, the different places in our province na may makikita kang may mga wind mill sa mga gitna ng mga bukiran natin, di ba? And that is not actually windmill, it's actually wind pump. Ang ginagawa niyan is it uses the power or the wind to extract water from the groundwater. Kaya tinawag na wind pump. So that is agricultural machinery. Okay? Biomass. Okay. You are using the byproducts of rice and corn to produce a biomass gas, for example. So these are renewable. Okay? These are renewable in terms of agricultural mechanization. This is very important because climate change is very hot for decades. For decades. So this is also related efficiency of energy transformation because if you have low efficiency, you have a high inefficient application. Fuel efficiency, renewable energy efficiency, yield production efficiency. And also the product life cycle, as I said later, or I said before, kanina, mawawala yung isip ko. Product life cycle or PLC is the cycle through which every product goes through from introduction to withdrawal or eventually demise. Machines, don't live forever. Don't perform forever. Tao nga, hindi nga nakakapag-perform. 30s, hindi na siya nakapag-perform well. Yan. Yung machine pa nga, hindi yan naabot ng mga 100 years, etc. There is so-called a product life cycle. Product life cycle assessment is a cradle to grave or cradle to cradle. For example, is a machinery is you can take an assessment from birth to death, for example, or you can state an assessment like from birth to a birth again kasi you are trying to convert the available resources, the available machinery resources into another purpose again. That's why it is a cradle to cradle. Okay? It is a cradle to grave or cradle to cradle analysis technique to assess environmental impacts associated with all stages of a product's life, which is from raw material extraction through material processing, manufacturing, distribution, and use. Another one is the environmental quality certification. Pasado kaya ito, no? The ISO 17989 or 1-2015, Tractors and Machinery for Agricultural and Forestry Sustainabilities. And there is an environmental aspect in terms of climate effect, resources consumptions, biodiversity, soil protections, and water and air pollution. So, these are the aspects of agricultural mechanization and the sub-aspect